I am going off to the rally in Birmingham, but I am extremely pleased to be here in Leicester today. I thought that demonstration was absolutely fantastic. The reception that you were getting from the passers-by was really strong. This is an auspicious day, the biggest strike that's been in this country for generations, the biggest ever strike by women in this country. Yesterday, the government gave us the clearest message it could in the autumn statement. Just look at the things that they proposed. Freezing tax credits, an additional 300,000 workers in the public sector to be sacked, on top of 400,000 already scheduled, bringing forward the rate at which they are going to increase the pension ages so that anyone less than 52 now has a pension age of 67, breaking up an additional 2 years of 1% pay holdback after the end of the 2-year pay freeze, which will take 16% of the value of your spending out of your pocket, which will make the crisis in the economy worse. After that, they say that within 2 years they intend to break up national pay and conditions. George Osborne announced that yesterday. They want to do away with national pay bargaining altogether and go to regional pay. And after that, they say they want to remove 2p, the little bit of protection that people get when they are privatised to stay on the same conditions. It's very, very clear, the message that the coalition government is giving to us. Now they say we're all in it together. So what are they asking from the 1%? What did George Osborne ask from the 1% richest in the country yesterday? Nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing that they have to pay more. They're removing the banker's bonus tax. They won't introduce the Robin Hood tax. They are sacking another 12,000 tax collectors when there is 35 billion missed in tax evasion every year, 70 billion in tax avoidance. Their message is very clear. When they say we're all in it together, they are liars. When we say it in this room, it's the truth. We are all in this together. And we the biggest strike in generations, the biggest strike by women ever, and the public supports us. The opinion polls by BBC this week, 67% of women support your strike action today. An astonishing 80% of young people supporting the strike action. Those young people know what side of bread is buttered on. If you all have to work at 68 or 70, there are going to be no jobs for young people. That's, the 1 million youth unemployment is a real message from the government. They lie when they say we're all in it together. We tell the truth when we say we are in it together. We have to stand together. Now they say that we shouldn't be striking now because negotiations are still ongoing. I represent the teacher unions in the negotiations with government. I've been to every meeting with the government ministers since they started in February. They're lying about all being in it together, and they're lying about negotiations. They are still refusing to carry out the valuation of the teachers' pension scheme or the valuations of any of the other schemes. They offer no negotiations, absolutely none, on the amount of contributions that they're asking us to pay. They offer no negotiations, absolutely none, not even any consultation on the change in the CPI indexation, which steals 15%, and we've seen the way they are responding on the question of the age increase. So when they say we're wrong to go on strike because negotiations are ongoing. They are absolutely wrong. We are right to strike, and we'll be right to strike again if they don't give way. Well, that's true for some, but it's true in the population as a whole. But it doesn't mean that you can carry on working forever. I don't want to be carried down a firefighter's ladder by a firefighter aged 60. It won't work. A nurse aged 66 isn't going to be able to give somebody a bed bath and physically move them around. A teacher isn't going to be able to take a class at 69. It just won't work. A refuse collector won't be able to carry bins at age 70. And it's not, I'm right to say 70. It isn't that they're saying that you'll have to work till 68 if you're a 34-year-old or younger. They're saying that now, but they have plans to bring those age changes forward, so it's for older people, and they have plans to make them higher. If you were listening to Radio 4 this morning, you'll hear the commentator seriously saying that they intend the state retirement age to be 70 for people who are currently in their 30s. These people are crazy. They do not understand the lives that we live. They don't understand the day-to-day life of a teacher, and we are the only people who can tell them. It's our action, united today, ATL, NASUWT, NUT, NAHT, our Scottish colleagues, Unison, GMB, all of us taking action together. That's what's going to give the population this country. Their solution, this increasing in the age, is the wrong solution, and it's a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. They say our pensions are unaffordable. It's not true. The National Audit Office and Lord Hutton both confirm that the costs of public sector pensions will decline as a proportion of GDP, not increase. They are not out of control. That is just not the truth. If we look back, and we've looked back in the NUT over the teachers' pension scheme since it began in 1923, we've counted up how much money has been paid in and how much money has been paid out. And the government's right. There is an imbalance. They're just wrong about the way the imbalance goes. More money paid into the teachers' pension scheme than has been paid out. How much more? £46,000 million. £46 billion paid in more than has been paid out in the teachers' pension scheme. So when they say our pension is unaffordable, they are lying. It declines over time. We're in the black going back. They're absolutely lying about this. It is true that in any 1 year, there may be more paid out than paid in. And it's true that that's happened for the last few years. It's bound to. They're peaking now, these payments out. They're peaking now because baby boomers are retiring now. People born between 1945 and 1955, at the end of the Second World War, in that huge demographic bulge, are retiring between 2005 and 2015. That's why there's a peak now. That's why more money is being paid out now than being paid in. But pensions, by definition, are long-term. The costs are declining into the future. We're 46 billion in the black going back. So it's absolutely not true that our pensions are unaffordable. It is true, a bit more paid out than paid in at the moment. What's the scale of that? Well, for all of the public sector schemes taken together, for all of them, for every doctor and lecturer, every nurse, every doctor, the firefighters, the armed forces, the police, the civil servants, for all of us taken together, it's about £4 billion the Treasury is subsidising the scheme by. This is on an annual basis, and take into account all the things I've said about the cost declining. It's still a lot of money. Does that make our schemes unaffordable? Well, just think about this figure. The tax relief on pension contributions to the 1% richest in this country. That's people who earn £150,000 and up. And it goes a long way up to Wayne Rooney levels. So it's people who are extremely rich. The tax pensions relief for that 1%, just 1% of the population, not £4 billion, not £8 billion, £10 billion. So the subsidy to the 1% richest in this country is 2.5 times the subsidy to the public sector pension schemes. So when they say it's unaffordable, we can say to them with a huge degree of confidence, you are lying, you are just attacking our pensions, you're doing it because you want to level down, and we won't let you do it. They have no proof that our schemes are unaffordable. They have no proof that the longevity is causing a crisis. Those matters have been dealt with. Their real reason is this comparison, this fake and odious comparison they make with the private sector. David Cameron refers to it as a sort of apartheid in our country between public sector workers and private sector workers. And I say that's an odious comparison. Because when the blacks in South Africa were fighting against apartheid, they were fighting to lift people's rights up, to equalise rights up. And David Cameron is using that word to drive your rights down. And it's crocodile tears from him. Because there is a crisis in private sector pensions in this country, and he is doing absolutely nothing to address it. When he gets Lord Hutton to write the report on public sector pensions, he tells him that he has to look at the comparison between public sector pensions and private sector pensions, and then that he can make no recommendations about private sector pensions. So it's totally hypocritical, totally crocodile tears. They intend to do nothing at all about private sector pensions. They just want to drive yours down to their level. And do you know what? One of the fundamental reasons that they want to do this, and they acknowledge this in the discussions with us, the CBI tells them that it's too expensive to pay the pensions of people in privatised companies. And CBI is saying they want to reduce your pensions to make it cheaper and easier to privatise you. These are the fundamental reasons that the government is taking this on. Not because of affordability, but because they want to drive their privatisation agenda and level everyone down. And I think the response that we're making today, that we're making by having 30 plus unions on strike, the biggest ever strike by women in this country, with a strike with a tremendous degree of support from the population in the country, is the right message. The government is telling us that they want a fight over this. There are no measures in their autumn statement to take anything from the richest. Everything, every single cut is on poorer and average wage people in this country. Nothing at all from the 10% or the 1% richest. The only response we can have is that we have to say we're going to fight them over it. We can't let them get away with it. Now, I'll say this, that cannot be the job of the union leaders alone. It isn't, in fact, it's your job. You know, you have to talk to the public, you have to talk to your family, you have to talk to your friends, the people you know that work in the private sector that depend on your pension and retirement. So we have to work together, talking to the public, recruiting non-members into unions, people volunteering to become reps, because this fight is not over today. They are not going to back down because of our action today. I think they are worried about it. I think they are worried about the strength of teacher opinion and public sector opinion in general, but they won't back down, I forecast, as a result of today. And that's why we now have to be really serious about what we do next. I don't think we can let them take our pensions away. I think that we have to fight them over it. And that's why in the NUT we're saying more strike action in the new year, rolling regional strikes and more national strike action.